The stars twinkled peacefully in the vast emptiness of space as the Terra Venture, Earth's newest exploration vessel, glided through an unexplored sector. Captain Robert Hayes stood on the bridge, his experienced eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding his command chair. At 53, with gray starting to show in his brown hair, he had seen his fair share of strange things in space, but nothing had prepared him for what was about to happen. "Captain, we're picking up multiple ships approaching," called out Lieutenant Emma Foster from her communication station. Her fingers danced across the glowing control panel as she analyzed the incoming signals. They're huge, sir. Different designs than anything we've seen before." Hayes straightened in his chair. "First contact scenario, people. Remember your training." He turned to his crew of 20 on the bridge, seeing determination in their eyes. "Let's show them humanity's best face." The alien ships appeared on their main view screen. 5 vessels that looked like giant purple crystals, each one at least 3 times the size of the Terra Venture. Their surfaces sparkled with what looked like rivers of flowing light. "They're hailing us," Emma reported, her voice steadied despite the tension. "On screen," Hayes ordered, standing up and straightening his blue uniform. The screen flickered to life, showing a tall, elegant alien with silvery skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, the ship's AI translated its musical language instantly. "I am High Chancellor Zixis of the Galactic Council," the alien announced, its upper eyes narrowing. "You have entered Council space. Primitive vessel. Identify yourselves." Hayes kept his voice friendly but firm. "I am Captain Robert Hayes of the Terra Venture, representing humanity and Earth. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration and would welcome the opportunity for diplomatic relations." The alien's expression shifted to something that looked like amusement. "Humanity. Earth? We have no record of your species." The High Chancellor's tone grew colder. "As per Council law, all newly discovered species must submit to evaluation and determination of their status. You will power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Hayes frowned. "With respect, Chancellor, we are an independent species. We don't submit to boarding without prior diplomatic agreement. I suggest we establish proper diplomatic channels first." "You dare refuse?" All 4 of the alien's eyes flashed with anger. "Your primitive species has no standing to negotiate. Submit, or face the consequences of your defiance." The captain's jaw tightened. "Chancellor, I urge you to reconsider. We wish no conflict, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." "Enough." The Chancellor's image vanished from the screen. "Captain," called out the sensor officer. "They're charging weapons." Hayes dropped back into his command chair. "Shields up." Battle stations. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the crew rushed to their positions. "Send an emergency signal to Earth. They need to know what's happening here." The first blast from the Council ships hit the Terra Venture shields, lighting up space with purple energy. To the alien's surprise, the human ship shields held firm. "Shields at 92%, reported the defense officer. "Their weapons are powerful, but our new barrier technology is holding." Hayes watched as more shots impacted their shields. "Return fire. Warning shots only. Show them we can bite back, but don't aim to destroy." The Terra Venture's point defense turrets came to life, sending precise bursts of energy that danced across the Council ship's shields. "Sir," Emma called out urgently, "I've managed to get a quantum transmission through to Earth. They've received our distress signal and tactical data." The battle continued for several minutes, with the Council ships growing increasingly frustrated as their attacks failed to break through the human vessel's defenses. The Terra Venture's retaliatory shots, while carefully aimed to avoid critical systems, were proving more effective than the aliens had expected. "Captain," the tactical officer reported, "they're backing off. Looks like they're regrouping." Hayes nodded grimly. "They thought we'd be easy prey. They were wrong." He turned to his crew. "Good work, everyone. But this isn't over. The Council won't take this humiliation lightly." As the Council ships retreated to a safe distance, Hayes knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity's first contact with the galactic community had gone badly wrong, but they had proven they weren't helpless. Now, Earth would respond, and the Council was about to learn just how serious a mistake they had made. Emma looked up from her station, her expression both worried and determined. "Sir, Earth Command acknowledges our situation. They're dispatching the UES Nemesis." A small smile crossed Hayes' face. The Council had no idea what was coming their way. The real show was about to begin. Lieutenant Emma Foster's fingers flew across her communications console as the Terraventure shook from another hit. The Council ships had returned with reinforcements, determined to teach the humans a lesson. But Emma had a crucial task. She needed to send a complete data package to Earth about everything they'd learned. Status of the quantum transmitter. She called out to Dr. David Chen, who was working frantically at the AI control station. "Not good," David replied, wiping sweat from his forehead. "We're at 40% power. The alien weapons are creating interference." He paused, then added, "But I have an idea. We can redirect power from the ship's AI processing cores." Captain Hayes, overhearing this from his command chair, nodded quickly. "Do it. Earth needs to know what we're dealing with." David's hands moved quickly over his console. "Area, ship's AI, I need you to shut down all non-essential functions. Focus only on shields and weapons. Give everything else to communications." The AI's calm voice responded. "Understood, Doctor. Diverting power now. Be advised. I will operate at reduced capacity." Emma watched as her transmission strength jumped up. She immediately began packaging everything they'd learned about the Council, their ship designs, weapon capabilities, shield frequencies, and most importantly, their attitude toward lesser species. On the main screen, 3 more crystal-shaped Council ships appeared out of what looked like tears in space. The Terraventure was now surrounded by 8 hostile vessels. "Package ready," Emma announced. "But sir, even with the extra power, we need at least 2 minutes of clear transmission to get everything through." Captain Hayes straightened in his chair. "Then we'll give you those 2 minutes." He turned to tactical. "Focus all fire on the ship at coordinates 200 and 27 Mark IV. Create a gap in their formation." The Terraventure's weapons blazed to life, concentrated fire hammering one of the Council ships. Its shields flickered and failed, forcing it to pull back. A small hole appeared in the enemy formation. "Now, Lieutenant," Hayes ordered, "send everything." Emma activated the quantum transmitter at full power. The ship's lights dimmed as energy was redirected to her station. On her screen, she watched the data package begin its transmission to Earth. 1 minute, she called out, monitoring the progress. The Council ships realized something was happening. They began to concentrate their fire on the Terraventure's communications array. The ship shuddered violently. "Shields at 45%, called out the defense officer. "We can't take much more of this." 30 seconds, Emma reported, her heart racing as she watched the progress bar. David worked furiously at his station, rerouting emergency power to shields. Area is now operating at minimal capacity. The ship rocked again. Warning lights flashed across every console as systems began to fail. 15 seconds, Emma shouted over the noise of failing systems. Captain Hayes gripped his chair. "Hold together, old girl. Just a few more seconds." "Transmission complete," Emma finally announced, relief flooding her voice. "Earth has received everything." At that moment, the main lights failed, leaving only emergency lighting. Smoke poured from several damaged consoles. "Get us out of here," Hayes ordered. Emergency jump to anywhere safe. The Terraventure's engines flared to life, and the ship disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the frustrated Council ships behind. They had accomplished their mission. Earth now knew exactly what they were facing. 3 days later, in Earth's orbital defense headquarters, Captain Lisa Martinez stood before a holographic display of the Terraventure's data. Her dark eyes studied every detail, as she prepared to take command of humanity's response. "The UES Nemesis is ready, Captain," reported Commander John Wilson, her tactical officer. "All systems are at 100%, crew is aboard, and the new weapon systems are fully operational." Lisa nodded, her expression determined. "The Council thinks they can bully us into submission. They believe we're primitive, weak." She turned to face her senior staff. "The Nemesis will show them how wrong they are." The hologram shifted to show the Nemesis itself, a massive battleship that made the Terra Venture look tiny in comparison. 2 miles long, armed with weapons that could crack planets, and protected by shields that could withstand the force of a small sun, it represented the true extent of human military technology. "Your orders, Captain," John asked. "Set course for the Council's capital system," Lisa commanded. "It's time to return their welcome. And this time, we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of." As her crew moved to their stations, Lisa looked one more time at the image of the Council ships that had attacked the Terra Venture. Soon, they would learn that humanity wasn't just another species to be conquered. They were about to understand exactly how big a mistake they had made. The UES Nemesis, humanity's most powerful warship, began its journey. The Council's days of unchallenged authority were about to end. High Chancellor Zixis stood in the Grand Council chamber, his silver skin gleaming under the light of 3 suns that shone through the crystal dome above. Around him, representatives from 20 different alien species sat in rising tiers, all watching as Kittel, their intelligence officer, gave his report. Kittel, a small green alien with large eyes, looked nervous. "Honorable Council members, I must warn you about these humans. Our scans of their ship showed technology far more advanced than we initially thought. Their shields." "Enough." Zixis waved his hand dismissively. "One small ship managed to escape. That proves nothing." "But sir," Kittel insisted, his large eyes blinking rapidly, "their weapons could have destroyed our ships. They chose not to. They showed restraint." Laughter echoed through the chamber. Councillor Draz, a large reptilian alien, leaned forward. "Restraint? More likely they were too weak to do real damage. These humans are barely out of their solar system." Kittel pulled up a hologram showing the Terra Venture's defense capabilities. "Look at these readings. Their shield technology is unlike anything we've seen, and our spies report they have bigger ships, much bigger." "These reports are clearly flawed," Zixis interrupted. "No newly discovered species could possess such technology." He turned to face the Council members. "We have ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. Would you have us fear these newcomers?" In the back of the chamber, representatives from younger Council races exchanged worried looks. They had seen the sensor data. The human chip's technology was impressive. "We should send a diplomatic mission," suggested Vera, a representative from one of the younger races. "Open, peaceful dialogue. We do not negotiate with primitives." Zixis slammed his hand on the podium. "The Council's law is clear. New species must submit to our authority. We cannot show weakness." Kittel tried one last time. "Chancellor, please, at least look at the data about their home system. They have massive orbital structures, energy readings that suggest." "Be silent." Zixis's 4 eyes flashed with anger. "You are relieved of your duties, Kittel. Clear your office by day's end." The small intelligence officer's shoulders slumped as he walked out of the chamber. He knew he had failed to make them understand the danger. Zixis turned back to the Council. "I have already ordered our fleets to establish a containment perimeter around human space. We will show these upstarts their place in the galactic order." In the chamber's lower tier, Councillor Mira, an energy being contained in a crystalline form, spoke softly to her aide. "Check our ship's logs. I want to know exactly how much damage that human vessel could have done if it wanted to." As the Council continued their debate, a junior aide rushed into the chamber. "Chancellor, urgent news from the fleet." "What is it?" Zixis demanded. "Our sensors have detected a massive ship leaving human space," the aide reported, his voice shaking. It's It's bigger than anything we've ever built. Zixus waved away the concern. Size means nothing. Prepare the ultimatum to Earth. Tell them they have one standard rotation to submit to Council authority, or we will demonstrate our power. In the shadows of the chamber, more representatives of younger council races began quietly leaving their seats. They had seen enough to know which way the wind was blowing. Councillor Draz laughed again. Perhaps we should thank these humans. It's been too long since we had the chance to remind the galaxy why the council rules. But Kittle, now walking through the crystal corridors of the council station, looked at the latest sensor data on his pad. The human ship was massive, yes, but it was the energy readings that made his blood run cold. Whatever was coming their way, it was far more powerful than anything the council had. As he reached his office, a message flashed on his screen. Several of the younger council races were requesting private meetings. They, at least, were starting to understand. Back in the chamber, Zixus drafted his ultimatum to Earth, convinced of his own power. Outside, the Council's defense fleet gathered, their crystal ships forming beautiful but ultimately fragile patterns against the stars. None of them realized that the UES Nemesis was about to teach them all a lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity. Their 1,000-year rule was about to meet its greatest challenge, and their hubris had left them completely unprepared. The space around the Council's capital world shimmered like a pond disturbed by a stone. A massive tear opened in the fabric of space itself, and from it emerged the UES Nemesis. The human battleship was a sight that made every alien watching stop and stare. 2 miles of dark metal and gleaming weapon ports stretched out like a sword pointed at the heart of the Council's power. Commander John Wilson stood at his tactical station on the Nemesis's bridge, studying the enemy fleet through the ship's sensors. Captain Martinez, I count 120 Council vessels. They're arranging themselves in attack formation. Captain Lisa Martinez sat calmly in her command chair, her experienced eyes taking in the holographic displays around her. Status report, she ordered. Shields at full power, reported Kevin Ross, her first officer. All weapon systems ready. Our size is causing quite a panic in their fleet. Their communications are going crazy. The bridge of the Nemesis was quiet and professional, despite being larger than most Council ships' entire command centers. Screens showed the Council fleet, their crystal ships looking like toys compared to the human battleship. "Ma'am," called out the communications officer, "we're being hailed by the Council Defense Force. They're demanding we power down our engines and surrender." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. Put them on screen. The main display lit up with the image of a Council admiral, his silver skin pale with either anger or fear. "Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Power down immediately or face destruction." "This is Captain Lisa Martinez of the UES Nemesis," she responded calmly. "We are here in response to your unprovoked attack on our exploration vessel. I suggest you consider your next actions very carefully." The Admiral's 4 eyes narrowed. "You dare threaten the Council? Our fleet will." "Sir," John interrupted, speaking to Lisa, but loud enough for the alien to hear, "their weapons won't even scratch our outer shields. Their strongest weapons are about 15%, as powerful as our point defense systems." The Admiral's face showed confusion at this casual dismissal of his fleet's power. "You lie. No ship can." "Commander Wilson," Lisa cut him off, "please demonstrate our point defense capabilities. Target that empty space near their command ship. Quarter power." John's fingers moved across his console. A single small turret on the Nemesis's vast hull rotated. It fired once, sending a beam of energy that lit up space brighter than the system's sun. The blast passed through the empty space between Council ships, and the shockwave alone made their vessels rock back and forth. Silence fell across all channels. That, Lisa said to the stunned Admiral, was 1-point defense turret at quarter power. The Nemesis has over 1,000 such turrets. They're designed to swat away missiles. Would you like to see what our main guns can do?" The Admiral's image vanished as he cut the transmission. On their sensors, they could see Council ships beginning to break formation. Kevin Ross stood beside his captain's chair. Look at their fleet formations. They're terrified but trying not to show it. Classic bullies who've never faced real power. Captain called out the sensor officer, detecting multiple ships launching from the Council station. Looks like civilian vessels. Many of the younger Council races are evacuating. Lisa nodded. This was exactly what they had expected. The Council's power was built on fear and intimidation. Once someone showed they weren't afraid, that power began to crumble. More messages coming in, reported communications. 3 different Council member races are requesting private channels. They're asking about defecting. Send them to the diplomatic team, Lisa ordered, and put me on an open channel to all Council frequencies. When the channel opened, she stood up, her voice firm and clear. This is Captain Martins. The Nemesis is here in peace, despite your attacks on our ships. We do not want war. But make no mistake, if you force us to fight, your fleet will not survive the first volley. You have 1 hour to begin serious diplomatic talks. Choose wisely. As her message played across Council space, the massive human battleship hung in space like a dark promise. Its very presence was changing the balance of power that had ruled the galaxy for centuries. In his office on the Council station, Catal watched the sensor readings of the Nemesis with a mix of fear and relief. He had tried to warn them. Now they would have to face the consequences of their arrogance. The Council's time of absolute power was ending, and it had taken just 1 human ship to do it. Captain Lisa Martinez stood at the observation window of the Nemesis's main conference room. Below her, dozens of alien ships had gathered to watch what she was about to do. The Council had agreed to a demonstration of human military capabilities, though they still believed it was just a bluff. All preparations ready, Captain, reported Security Chief Amanda Cooper, her hand resting on her sidearm. She didn't trust the Council representatives who were about to arrive. We've scanned their shuttles. They're clean, but I've posted guards anyway. Good. Lisa turned as the alien delegations began arriving. The Council members entered, trying to look confident despite being clearly nervous. Their silver skin couldn't hide their anxiety. High Chancellor Zixis led the group, his 4 eyes darting around the massive room. Impressive ship, Captain. But size alone does not indicate superior technology. Of course not, Lisa smiled. That's why we're here today. Commander Wilson, begin the demonstration. On the massive view screens around the room, they could see a field of debris, old ships and space junk that the Council had agreed could be used for target practice. John Wilson's voice came over the speakers. First demonstration, point defense targeting. Launching 100 drone attackers. Small attack drones shot out from the Nemesis, racing toward the ship at high speed. The aliens watched closely, some with smug expressions. Surely no ship could stop so many attackers at once. Activating point defense grid. Minimal power. Non-lethal intercept mode, John announced. The space around the Nemesis lit up. Precise beams of energy reached out and touched each drone. Instead of destroying them, the beams simply disabled their engines. All 100 drones stopped dead in space, perfectly preserved. As you can see, Lisa explained, we can disable rather than destroy when we choose. Every weapon on this ship has similar precision. One of the younger Council members spoke up. But surely against real ships. Second demonstration. Lisa cut in. Commander, the asteroid field. A massive field of asteroids lay ahead of the Nemesis. John's voice came again. Activating main gun. Low power. Target. Center of the field. A single massive beam shot out from the Nemesis' bow. When it hit the asteroid field, something remarkable happened. Instead of explosion and destruction, the asteroids began to break apart neatly, split into perfect halves by the beam's precision. Our weapons don't just destroy. Lisa explained to the stunned aliens. They can be as precise as surgical tools. Zixis tried to hide his shock. These are impressive tricks, but in real combat. Suddenly, alarms blared. Amanda Cooper's voice rang out. Captain, 3 Council destroyers just dropped out of hyperspace. They're charging weapons. Lisa saw Zixus smile slightly. He had planned this, a surprise attack to prove the Nemesis was just for show. Your ship is impressive, Captain, Zixus said smugly, but let's see how it handles real combat. Lisa stayed calm. Commander Wilson, execute defense pattern Echo. Non-lethal response. The 3 Council destroyers opened fire, their purple energy beams racing toward the Nemesis. The human ship's shields didn't even flicker as the shots hit. Then the Nemesis responded, its point defense grid activated, sending out precise beams that struck each enemy ship's weapon ports. The beams didn't destroy the weapons. They simply melted the ports shut, sealing them close. In less than 10 seconds, all 3 Council destroyers were completely disarmed but undamaged. As you can see, Lisa said to the now pale-faced Zixus, we could have destroyed those ships. Instead, we chose to disable them. That's the difference between our peoples, Chancellor. We have the power to destroy, but we prefer to show restraint. The council members whispered among themselves. One by one, they began sending messages to their governments. The younger race's representatives were already pulling out communication devices, clearly calling for private meetings. This demonstration is over, Lisa announced. You have all seen what one human ship can do. Now let's discuss the future of galactic politics like civilized beings. As the aliens filed out, Amanda Cooper stepped closer to her captain. Think they got the message? Lisa watched Zixus retreating back, his shoulders slumped in defeat. Oh yes, they got it. The age of council bullying is over. Now we'll see who's really ready for peaceful cooperation. Outside the windows, the 3 disabled council destroyers floated helplessly, a perfect symbol of how quickly the balance of power had shifted. The galaxy would never be the same. The Grand Council chamber was in chaos. After the Nemesis demonstration, everything had changed. Representatives from 15 younger races stood before High Chancellor Zixus, officially announcing their withdrawal from the Council's military alliance. You cannot do this, Zixus shouted, his silver skin turning almost white with rage. The Council has ruled for thousands of years. Vera, speaking for the younger races, stood tall. The Council ruled through fear, Chancellor. Now we have seen what real power looks like, and more importantly, we've seen how it can be used wisely. On the Nemesis, engineer Brian Miller was busy helping the first group of defecting ships upgrade their systems. He stood in an alien engine room, explaining to the curious crew how human shield technology worked. See, it's not just about power, he explained, pointing to the new systems they were installing. It's about being smart with that power. Your ships are good, they just need some improvements. The alien engineer, a tall blue-skinned being named Kex, watched in amazement as their ship's power levels doubled with just a few changes. All these years, the Council kept saying we weren't ready for advanced technology. They lied to us. Back in the Council chamber, Zixus made his final desperate play. If you leave the Council's protection, your worlds will be destroyed. Our fleet will. Will what? A new voice rang out. Captain Lisa Martinez walked into the chamber, flanked by her security team. Will you attack them like you attacked our exploration ship? We've already shown what happens to bullies in our space. The remaining Council loyalists shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Their fleet had been humiliated by one human ship. How could they hope to control their former subjects now? This is our chance, Lisa continued, addressing the whole chamber. Earth doesn't want to rule the galaxy. We want partners, equals. The younger races have already seen what cooperation can bring. On dozens of ships throughout the system, Brian and his engineering teams continued their work. Every upgraded ship was a symbol of the changing times. The aliens learned quickly, eager to understand technology that had been kept from them for so long. Counselor Mira, The energy being who had first suspected the truth about human power floated forward. "Chancellor, it's over. The old way is finished. We must adapt or become irrelevant." Zixus looked around the chamber, seeing his power crumbling. More representatives were standing, moving to join the group of younger races. Even some of his oldest allies were edging away. "You're destroying centuries of order." He tried one last time. Without the Council's guidance. Catal had returned to the chamber. The former intelligence officer held up his datapad. "I have records of every time the Council suppressed technological advancement in member races. Every time you used threats to maintain control. Every crime hidden in the name of order." The chamber erupted in angry shouts as this news spread. More representatives stood and walked away from their council seats. Lisa watched it all calmly. This was the real victory, not the military demonstration, but watching as centuries of fear and control crumbled in minutes. Her communicator beeped. "Captain," Kevin Ross reported, "we're tracking Council military ships trying to leave the system. Some are heading toward younger race territories." "Understood." Lisa's voice carried through the chamber. "To any Council military forces listening, the Nemesis will personally respond to any acts of aggression against withdrawing members. Choose your next actions carefully." The effect was immediate. On the tactical displays, the Council ships changed course, slinking back to their bases. Brian's voice came over the comm next. "Captain, you won't believe how fast these people learn. We've already got 5 ships upgraded, and their crews are helping teach others. They're really eager to be partners instead of subjects." Zixus finally slumped in his chair, defeated. Around him, the chamber continued to empty as more races declared their independence. "Captain Martinez," Vara called out, "we would like to discuss forming a new alliance. One of equals, as you suggested. Would Earth be interested in helping us build something better than the Council?" Lisa smiled. "That's exactly why we're here. Let's talk about the future, one where all our peoples can grow together." The old Council was dying, but something new and better was already taking shape, and it had all started with one human ship refusing to bow to bullies. 1 month after the Nemesis' arrival, the Council chamber looked very different. The old tiered seats had been replaced by a circular arrangement where all representatives sat at the same level. At the center, Captain Lisa Martinez stood with Diana Wells, Earth's chief diplomat, as they signed the final documents creating the Galactic Partnership Alliance. With these signatures, Diana announced, her voice clear and strong, "We mark the end of the old Council and the beginning of a new era of cooperation." The chamber erupted in cheers. Representatives from 30 different species celebrated together. Former Council races and younger races now standing as equals. On the main display screen, a familiar face appeared. Captain Robert Hayes of the Terra Venture, recovered and safe with his crew. "Congratulations to all," he said, smiling. "Who would have thought our first contact would lead to this?" Lissa looked around the chamber, remembering how it had all started. The old Council leaders, including Zixus, had been removed from power. They now faced trials for their crimes against member races. In their place, elected representatives led each species. Kittel, now serving as the Alliance's head of intelligence sharing, stepped forward. "Captain Martinez, we've finished our review of Council records. For centuries, they held back technological progress, keeping many races dependent. Thanks to Engineer Miller's sharing program, we've already seen remarkable advances." Brian Miller, who had become something of a hero among the younger races, stood with a group of alien engineers. Together, they had created a technology sharing program that was helping all member worlds advance. "The progress has been amazing," Brian reported. "These folks just needed a chance to learn." In the past month, average ship efficiency across the fleet has improved by 300%. Commander John Wilson, standing at his usual place near the tactical displays, added his own report. "The Joint Defense Fleet is coming together well. We've got ships from 15 different species training together. learning from each other. The old Council fleet officers who chose to join us have been especially helpful. They're eager to make up for the past. Security Chief Amanda Cooper stepped forward next. The last holdout worlds have signed the non-aggression pacts. The days of Council military threats are over. Our combined peacekeeping forces are already handling disputes through negotiation instead of intimidation. Diana turned to address the chamber. Earth doesn't seek to rule, she declared. We believe in partnership. Each world, each species has something unique to offer. Together, we're stronger than any empire. The chamber's main screen changed to show the space around the station. The Nemesis floated there, but it was no longer alone. Ships of all sizes and designs moved around it, many showing the marks of human upgrades alongside their original features. It was a powerful symbol of cooperation. Captain, Kevin Ross called out, checking his datapad. The TerraVenture crew's medals are ready. President Chen would like to present them herself at next week's ceremony. Lisa nodded. Those brave explorers deserved every honor. Their first contact had gone badly wrong, but their courage and restraint had helped shape everything that followed. Vera, now serving as one of the Alliance's chief coordinators, stepped to the center of the chamber. Let the record show that today marks the official end of the Galactic Council and the birth of the Partnership Alliance. Our first act, she smiled at the human delegation, is to formally recognize Earth as a full partner and thank them for showing us a better way. The chamber filled with applause again. Species that had once been bitter rivals now stood together, planning joint projects and sharing resources. Hard to believe it all started with one battleship, Amanda said quietly to Lisa. No, Lisa replied. It started with an exploration ship that chose not to fire back when attacked. The Nemesis just helped everyone understand that true strength isn't about destroying enemies. It's about making allies. As the celebration continued, news of the Alliance spread across the galaxy. The story would be told for generations, how humanity's arrival had marked the end of an empire of fear and the beginning of something better. The tale of how one human battleship had changed the galaxy not through force, but by showing there was another way. The old council was gone. In its place stood an alliance of equals, ready to face the future together. And it had all started because humanity refused to bow to bullies, and then refused to become bullies themselves. The galaxy would never be the same. It would be better.